Once upon a time, in a remote mountain village embraced by nature's beauty, an extraordinary event unfolded. Animal carcasses mysteriously appeared overnight, brutally torn apart as if viciously attacked by an elusive predator. The villagers were in utter shock, unable to comprehend the origins of these perplexing incidents. But fear not. A beacon of hope emerged in the form of Inugami, a renowned detective from the bustling streets of Tokyo. With an exceptional reputation for unraveling the most enigmatic cases, Inugami was summoned to the tranquil village to unravel the puzzling mystery behind the ravaged carcasses. Word swiftly spread like wildfire throughout the village, igniting the curiosity of a group of eager young boys. Their eyes gleamed with excitement as they exchanged whispers of anticipation. "The Tokyo detective is on his way," they exclaimed, envisioning a whirlwind of adventure and suspense. And so, as the determined detective embarked on his journey, the villagers anxiously awaited his arrival, unaware of the thrilling twists, concealed secrets, and exhilarating pursuit that awaited them. Among the group, there was a boy named Yataro Kusaka who harbored a dream of visiting Tokyo and becoming a detective himself one day. His friends pleaded with him to let them join later to meet the detective from Tokyo, and he agreed on the condition that they wouldn't disturb the guests. Meanwhile, another boy named Kabane, who happened to be Yataro's cousin and lived with them, became the target of teasing by Itaro. Itaro mocked Kabane's peculiar appearance and insisted that he stay outside upon the detective's arrival, citing his supposed unpleasant odor. On a nearby road, the detective Inugami encountered a flat tire, causing a momentary setback. Just then, Mrs. Kusaka, Yataro's mother, and Inugami's client appeared and kindly offered him a ride to their home, where he would be staying during the investigation. During the ride, they discussed the inexplicable appearance of the animal bodies, emphasizing the need to keep the investigation a secret from the children, who might be frightened by these events. The detective agreed wholeheartedly, assuring Mrs. Kusaka that he would do everything within his power to maintain peace and tranquility in the village. At the villa, Inugami noticed Kabane working diligently in the fields and greeted him. However, Kabane remained silent, only focusing on his tasks, leading Inugami to assume he was either shy or a dedicated worker who preferred not to be disturbed. Later, while relaxing in the hot springs, Inugami was joined by Itaro, who kindly offered to help wash his back. In the conversation, Inugami inquired about the boy he had seen working in the fields. Itaro informed him that the boy was Kabane, also known as Doratabo, a nickname derived from a mythical creature. It turned out that Kabane had a persistent foul odor, causing people to keep their distance and avoid talking to him. Moreover, he had been abandoned by his parents and Yataro's mother had kindly taken him in. After his bath, Inugami approached Mrs. Kusaka and expressed his wish for Yataro not to serve him anymore, requesting Kabane to attend to him instead. The following morning, Kabane prepared coffee for Inugami, and after a brief conversation, Inugami asked the boy if he had witnessed anything unusual lately, considering his frequent late-night work in the fields. To Inugami's surprise, Kabane revealed that he knew about the recent appearance of the dead animals and that he was actually the one responsible for disposing of the carcasses. Kabane explained that these events typically occurred on the night of the new moon, and the next new moon was just 5 days away, indicating that another incident might take place then. During the waiting period for the new moon, Inugami dedicates most of his time to assisting Kabane with his daily tasks. However, one day, Inugami notices a necklace worn by Kabane and inquires about its significance. Kabane admits that he doesn't know much about the necklace, but has carried it since birth, believing it may have belonged to his parents who likely abandoned him. Inugami recognizes the symbol on the stone and corrects Kabane, informing him that it is called a life stone. Inugami informs Kabane that the stone in the necklace possesses a unique and valuable component that can only form under specific circumstances. He believes that Kabane's parents wouldn't have left such a precious item on him without a reason, suggesting that he was not actually abandoned. The detective goes on to ask Kabane if he would like to meet his parents one day, expressing his willingness to help track them down if Kabane desires. On the night of the new moon, Kabane waits outside for Inugami. However, he is unexpectedly confronted by Yataro, who becomes jealous of the attention Kabane is receiving from the detective. Yataro starts shouting at Kabane, claiming that he is not special and accusing him of trying to ruin Yataro's chance to go to Tokyo. In a fit of rage, Yataro forcefully removes Kabane's necklace, causing Kabane to transform into a demon-like monster. Witnessing this horrifying transformation, Yataro panics and runs away, screaming. Fortunately, while in his demon form, Kabane manages to grab hold of the necklace. Upon realizing the consequences of his actions, Yataro returns to his normal state, feeling remorseful for what he had done. Devastated, Kabane sits near the barn, shedding tears and blaming himself for the recent animal deaths. It is then that Inugami finds him and reveals a surprising secret. He shows Kabane the tail on his back. Inugami explains that in the human world there exist rare beings called kimonos who coexist among humans while remaining undetected. To Kabane's astonishment, Inugami reveals that he himself is a hybrid, part human and part yokai. He shares that the stone is crucial for him as it allows him to maintain his human form and control his thirst for harming humans. Inugami assures Kabane that he is not responsible for the recent crimes. There is another culprit at large. Realizing this, Kabane understands that his cousin Yataro had run away into the forest, frightened by Kabane's transformation into a demon. Determined to find him, Kabane and Inugami venture into the forest. They locate Yataro surrounded by transformed dogs, posing a threat. Together, the duo swiftly dispatches the dogs. Soon after, they encounter one of the culprits, an ominous, demonic moose. Without hesitation, the moose attacks them, but Kabane, gifted with incredible strength, defeats it using only his bare hands. Inugami is indeed impressed by Kabane's extraordinary abilities. However, in a shocking twist, Inugami reveals that he was actually hired to eliminate Kabane, and that he had been lying to him all along. According to Inugami, Kabane is the true culprit, and Mrs. Kusaka knew the truth about Kabane's nature, as her sister had informed her when she gave him away. Inugami proceeds to shoot Kabane in the head. After returning to the village, Inugami informs Mrs. Kusaka that he has completed the job and departs, taking Kabane's body with him. However, to everyone's surprise, Kabane's body regenerates and he comes back to life. Inugami explains that this is possible because Kabane is a hybrid of yokai and human. He then takes Kabane to his office in Tokyo, where he introduces him to two other orphans named Shiki and Akira. Inugami reveals that he has taken them in because they, too, belong to the same race known as kimonos. Inugami offers Kabane the opportunity to stay in Tokyo and work with them as part of the detective team. However, he assures Kabane that he doesn't have to provide an immediate answer. Curious about Kabane's unusual scent, Akira asks if he is also a kimono like them. Inugami explains that Kabane is a henyo, a half kimono and half human, but with an incredibly powerful yokai within him, making him an immortal demon. He mentions that Kabane shares similarities with Shiki, as they are both henyos. However, Shiki is displeased with the recruitment of a new member and becomes furious when he realizes that Kabane is wearing his clothes. Shiki informs Kabane that he is 1 year older and therefore his superior, before storming off to the bathroom. Later, when Kabane goes to the bathroom, he accidentally trips on a wire trap and Shiki appears, questioning why he came there. Kabane explains that Inugami is helping him search for his parents, but Shiki scoffs, suggesting that they are most likely dead or that Kabane was abandoned. As Kabane attempts to get up, he realizes that the wire is attached to him and Shiki warns him not to move as it could rip his leg apart. However, Kabane ignores the warning, freeing himself and leaving a hole in his leg. Shiki is surprised by Kabane's ability to heal and regenerate the injured body part. The next day, they embark on their first investigation task. Upon arrival, the police explain that a family's home has been infested with bugs. Inugami explains that something inside their room is attracting the bugs, and unless they remove it, the infestation will persist. Shiki attempts to use his soap powers to create webs and trap the creatures, but the bugs quickly devour the webs. Inugami then allows Kabane to enter the room despite the concerns of everyone present due to his young age. They fear for his safety, but Inugami reminds them that Kabane cannot produce blood or feel pain. As Kabane enters the room, the bugs swarm his body, but he remains unaffected, and the bugs cannot feed on him. Kabane successfully identifies the object causing the bug infestation in the house. Inugami informs the boy living in the infested house that the bugs feed on human emotions, specifically guilt. He reveals that the object attracting the bugs was a pair of stolen shoes, which the boy's little brother took for their mother due to their family's poverty. After Kabane agrees to join the team, Inugami promises to help him find his parents. Later, Inugami is seen talking on the phone with a mysterious woman named Inari, who holds significant influence with the Tokyo police. He discusses Kabane with her, expressing concerns about him being a potential threat. The following day, Inugami sends the boys to the police station to meet with Inari. However, an officer at the station doubts their connection to Inari and prevents them from meeting her. Suddenly, a girl named Kan appears and inquires about Kabane, revealing that Inari is waiting for him in her office. When Kabane meets Inari, her behavior towards him is peculiar, and she becomes solely interested in his life stone. She explains that with the stone, the kimono race would no longer need to rely on human energy to survive in the world. Inari expresses her intention to replicate the stone by removing Kabane's head and placing it in a suitcase. She then orders Kan to eliminate the other boys who are waiting outside. However, outside, Kan then shapeshifts into Kabane's form. During the chaos, Shiki in her true form as Akatsune starts attacking them and setting everything on fire. Shiki uses his silk to create a shield and catches the suitcase containing Kabane's head. Meanwhile, Kan, furious at failing to impress Inari, intensifies her attacks with fireballs. Taking cover, the boys witness Kabane telling Shiki to throw him at Kan. He bites her in midair and swiftly defeats her. As Kan is defeated, the illusion of flames disappears, revealing that her powers were only an illusion. Kabane regenerates his body, leaving Shiki puzzled about his abilities and feeling jealous. Outside, they find Inugami waiting for them. Inugami reveals that the stone Inari is holding is fake, and that the real one is still with Kabane. Later, they all arrive outside their office, but Kan reappears, demanding Kabane's head for her mission. However, due to her injury, she faints. Inugami takes her inside and feeds her. Inugami is later confronted by Khan, still insisting on obtaining Kabane's head. Inugami tricks her by transforming an orange fruit into Kabane's head, dismissing her. Shiki warns that Khan will seek revenge when she realizes the deception, but Inugami doesn't see her as a significant threat. In the meantime, Inugami assigns Kabane a new mission to investigate the recent supernatural deaths near the riverbanks and sewers. Kabane and Akira arrive at the sewers, where Kabane inquires about Akira's powers. Akira reveals that he can turn water into ice, but he struggles to use his abilities effectively in stressful situations. Suddenly, they are ambushed by a massive frog-like creature that captures Akira. However, Kabane acts swiftly and manages to free him before the frog can attack again. At that moment, a tanuki appears as a messenger from Inugami, delivering a letter, a pouch, and a container of blood. The letter explains that these frog creatures are actually renegade kimonos who have turned against their own kind, losing all sense of pride. Inugami instructs Kabane to draw out and eliminate these frog-like creatures in order to safeguard the city. Hearing this, Akira becomes frightened by the daunting task ahead. However, he recalls his initial purpose for coming to Tokyo, to confront his fears and grow stronger. Encouraged by this, Akira decides to stay and assist Kabane. Following Inugami's instructions, Akira releases the demon blood into the water, which attracts a swarm of frogs towards them. Kabane courageously confronts the creatures on his own, while Akira struggles with his own lack of confidence. Despite Kabane's considerable strength and diverse fighting techniques, he eventually becomes overwhelmed by the sheer number of frogs. At that moment, Akira recalls how others perceive him as weak and determines to change their perception by showcasing his true strength. Suddenly, he unleashes a massive ice attack against the creatures, freezing them all and defeating every last one of them. A few days later, while Kabane is cleaning the hallway, he is unexpectedly pulled into a mysterious room where he encounters a man named Mihai. It turns out that Mihai has been living in Inugami's office all this time, specializing in behind-the-scenes work. Inugami is displeased with their discovery as Mihai is a ruthless vampire with supernatural powers. However, Mihai reveals that Kabane had actually broken his wrists during an arm wrestling match, preventing him from playing his video games, and that's why he started assisting with the investigation work instead. Later on, Mihai tricks and traps Inugami in his room, leaving him unable to interfere, and sends Kabane and the others on a risky mission. Their objective is to investigate a factory where employees have been mysteriously dying one by one. Recently, the deaths have inexplicably ceased, and they need to uncover the reason behind it. Before entering the factory, Shiki covers his body with his silk web, rendering himself invisible by reflecting the surrounding objects with his silk threads. Inside the factory, Shiki encounters a toy car controlled by Mihai, which is also invisible. Mihai informs Shiki that the car will serve as his companion. While exploring further, they discover that all the employees are behaving strangely, lined up in a room and working like mindless zombies. Suddenly, one of the workers attempts to escape but is apprehended by the manager. The worker is taken to a room where a woman transforms into a mosquito-like creature known as Kamano and feeds on his brain, forcing him back to work without the ability to think. Shiki expresses his fear of the mosquitoes and believes he cannot face all three of them. However, Mihai disagrees and insists on confronting them. Shiki attempts to flee the scene, but Mihai uses the toy car to create a distraction. The female mosquito steps out and discovers the toy car. One of her comrades quickly hides it. The woman informs the others that there's nothing unusual, but the group appears to be suspicious of her. The leader decides to search the area. The mosquitoes utilize their kimono abilities to locate the invisible Shiki. However, Mihai uses the toy car to electrocute one of the mosquitoes, saving Shiki's life. Shiki, though unable to move, becomes frozen in place. Mihai realizes that Shiki must have experienced traumatic incidents during his childhood, causing him to adopt a facade of toughness while secretly harboring fear. Eventually, Shiki regains his senses and uses his silk to camouflage himself. He saturates the room, releasing various toxins into the air to confuse the kimono and successfully trapping it while rendering it unconscious. The other two come to Shiki's aid. Kabane carries the sister of the defeated mosquito and informs Shiki that he easily overpowered her. Suddenly, the boss mosquito arrives, having fed on the brains of the two sisters and appearing even stronger than before. It knocks down Akira and Shiki, leaving Kabane as the only one standing. With guidance from Mihai on how to properly utilize his kimono powers, Kabane taps into his true potential and tears off the creature's arms. At that moment, Inari's new assistant, Nabamaru, appears and destroys the remaining remains of the mosquitoes. Nabamaru explains that he needs to eliminate any evidence of the kimono species to prevent humans from discovering their existence. The following day, the group embarks on a road trip in search of more information about Shiki's parents. Upon arriving in the city, the boys explore their surroundings and Kabane comes across a book that tells a local legend. The legend recounts the story of a man who fed a spider that ended up filling his home with golden webs, leading him to become wealthy and live happily. While the group is engrossed in the book, a mysterious girl with pink hair is seen observing Shiki. Inugami approaches them and announces that he has found Shiki's uncle, prompting them to head into the forest. In the forest, Shiki's uncle reveals that Shiki's father passed away while his mother was pregnant with him, and Shiki's father succumbed to an illness when Shiki was only 5 years old. At night, while they are in the forest, Nabamaru appears and invites them to explore the forest together, hoping to bring them closer as a group. However, as they venture deeper into the forest, Shiki starts to recall memories of his mother going to work in the forest and instructing him to stay behind. Intrigued, Shiki follows the path his mother used to take, and the others follow him, concerned about his destination. Shiki arrives at a hut, which triggers a vivid flashback of a horrifying incident from his childhood. He remembers following his mother one night and witnessing her engaging in a disturbing act with a large demon kimono, suggesting some kind of experiment taking place. These traumatic memories explain Shiki's long-lasting trauma. Inugami takes Shiki's uncle aside for a conversation in the forest, during which the man divulges that he was involved in the experiments conducted on Shiki's mother using various kimono creatures. The purpose of these experiments was to create a kimono capable of producing golden silk, which possessed the ability to restore human cells and promise immense wealth. However, Shiki's uncle was unaware that Shiki overheard his conversation on a phone call. Shiki emerges from the darkness, trapping Shiki's uncle in a tree, driven by anger and ready to confront him. However, at that moment, a giant kimono creature appears and attempts to attack Akira. It mistakenly bites Inugami's hand, which becomes poisoned. The group finds themselves surrounded by swarms of kimono creatures, causing them to separate. Cornered by the creatures, Shiki's uncle reveals that these creatures are Shiki's brothers and sisters, the results of the experiments conducted on his mother. The creatures begin speaking with the voice of Shiki's mother, causing Shiki to collapse. Shiki continues to feel heartbroken upon hearing his mother's voice coming from the demons. He is devastated by what his uncle has done to his family, rendering him weak and unable to find the strength to fight. Shiki orders Kabane to eliminate all the creatures on his behalf. Kabane undergoes a transformation and engages in a fierce battle against the monsters with the assistance of Nabamaru. Together, they defeat the creatures, including a giant kimono. As the fight concludes, Kabane throws Akira down and asks Shiki if they should finish him off. However, Shiki realizes that even if they were to kill Akira, it wouldn't bring his family back. He chooses not to go through with it. Suddenly, Ai arrives at the scene and asks her father, Akira, where he has hidden the cocoon she had created. Apparently, the cocoon is being used to produce the golden silk. Inugami decides to contact Mihai, and with the information gathered from investigating Akira over the past year, they are able to deduce the 4 places that Akira frequently visits. With the spots revealed, Aya realizes where the cocoon must be located. The girl, Aya, rushes to the location of the cocoon, but Shiki catches up and insists that he will be the one to retrieve it. He dives into the water and discovers that his mother is still alive. He brings her to the surface, only to realize that his mother has been the golden web all along. They successfully rescue her, and Inugami informs Shiki that he knows a place in the city where he can help his mother. Shiki decides to spare his uncle's life, recognizing that destroying his legacy is a fate worse than death. However, as they leave, Nabamaru reappears and finishes off Shiki's uncle. Later on, Aya expresses her fear that her brother Shiki would hate her, but Shiki reassures her that if she hadn't survived her father's experiments, their mother would not be alive today. Their mother wakes up, happy to see her children alive and safe. Aya joins the investigation team and becomes a member of their next mission. It is revealed that Aya has developed feelings for Kabane and asks him out. However, Khan appears and challenges Aya, feeling jealous upon seeing them together. Inugami explains that their next job is to face an invisible kimono creature that has been mutilating women's faces in an attempt to become the most beautiful woman in town. As they arrive at the location, the fox girl Ai becomes saddened by the attention Kabane is giving to Aya and stays behind. She begins hearing a voice asking for help, and suddenly an invisible force pulls her hair. Kabane punches the air to save her, and a kimono named Katanashi appears. Katanashi reveals that she has been removing certain parts of girls' faces in an attempt to become the most beautiful and win the heart of a boy who works at a nearby store. As Khan loses control and attacks Aya, Kabane defends her, causing Khan to run back to the office crying. Inugami is informed that the task has been solved, as I managed to form a human body for Katanashi. Katanashi promises not to attack anyone else ever again. At night, Kabane searches for Khan in the forest and comforts her. Meanwhile, in the office, Inugami accompanies Kuni, who secretly honors her other deceased kimono children. Yuri, Akira's twin brother, is introduced, and his thoughts reminisce about their early years when their needs were taken care of by the women of the village. Being born as kimono twins is a rare occurrence, happening only every 100 years. Their strict mother kept them indoors, and they never saw their father, who was locked in a hut outside. However, as long as they had each other, they felt unstoppable. Back at the office, Akira's accidental mishaps often ruin the missions, irritating the others and leading her to run away. During her time alone, she encounters her lost brother, Yuri, who was also searching for her. They both decide to walk away from civilization, and when Akira gets tired, Yuri builds her a huge ice castle for the night. Impressed by his creation, Akira tries to take a picture, but Yuri destroys her cell phone and locks the castle. Inugami sees news about a massive ice castle on TV and rushes to the location. They find several onlookers until Yuri steps outside, ready to attack. Inugami shoots him, dispersing the crowd. Inugami reveals a stone similar to Kabane's life stone, known as a millstone. Possessing it allows one to reach their full kimono potential and possess the power to destroy and rebuild lands. Akira finally leaves the room but discovers that Yuri has frozen all her friends, making her believe they are dead. Outside, Inari and Nabamura plan to take Yuri's millstone. Yuri has a flashback to their younger years when he was named the head of the ice village, revealing the traumas he has endured while Akira remained innocent and unaware. Meanwhile, Kabane manages to free himself as he generates more body heat. After freeing himself, he states that he must find a way to defeat Yu. However, Akira, with the intention of preventing a fight between Kabane and his friends, pretends that it was her plan all along. She claims to hate Kabane, loves her brother, and expresses her desire to live with him. As soon as Yu returns, she willingly leaves with him, leaving her friends behind. Inari appears in the castle and orders Kabane to help her steal a null stone. She tells Kabane that the artifact could be connected to his parents. Kabane agrees to assist her, but warns Inari that if she is lying about his parents to obtain the stone, he will deal with her differently. Before leaving, he insists on waiting until his friends are unfrozen. Meanwhile, Inugami communicates with Kabane using telepathy, conveying that their friends are safe and encouraging him to find his parents and retrieve the null stone from Yu. In the forest, Yui and Akira encounter Nabamaru, who engages in a fight with Yu. Nabamaru demands that Yu hand over the null stone to Inari. During the battle, Akira calls out to Yu, causing him to become distracted. In the midst of the chaos, Nabamaru manages to touch the stone, but his hand becomes frozen to the bones and shatters, surprising him. During his attempts to figure out how to acquire the null stone, he was caught off guard when Yu approached him. However, Kabane swiftly stepped in to defend him, and together, they formulated a strategy to overcome Yu. In the midst of their plan, Nabamaru ignited Kabane, instructing Kabane to utilize his regenerative abilities to continuously heal and counter Yu's icy attacks. Witnessing Kabane resembling an overpowering fireball, Yu responded by encasing his body in ice armor. Meanwhile, Akira remained trapped in the ice cage and eventually realized that the fog in the air was actually water vapor. Taking advantage of this revelation, Akira began gathering water to create a massive ice ball, enabling his own escape. Amidst the ongoing battle between Kabane, Yui, and Yu, Nabamaru cautioned that if the flames overwhelmed Kabane's regenerative powers, his body would succumb to the strain. Advising Kabane on the necessary approach, Nabamaru urged him to deliver 3 precise strikes against Yu for victory. Drawing upon all his strength, Kabane executed the 3 simultaneous hits, and during the final blow, Akira intervened to rescue Yu. Akira clarified that the stone was drawing energy from Yu and also serving as a shield to protect her throughout the ordeal. However, in a critical moment, Akira gathers the courage to extract the stone from Yu's body, granting him a chance at survival. As she does so, a rush of memories inundates Akira's mind, offering her a glimpse into Yu's past. Meanwhile, Kabane's extraordinary regenerative abilities come into play, and he joins forces with Akira to revive her brother. Utilizing his own life stone, Kabane merges it with the fallen null stone. Their efforts are interrupted by Inari seizing the opportunity to seize the stone. However, Inugami arrives just in time, demanding its return and asserting that the artifact rightfully belongs to neither Inari nor Yu. In the confines of the hospital, Kabane, consumed by curiosity, seeks answers from Inugami regarding the null and life stones. Inugami's countenance turns solemn as he reveals the ancient history of these stones, a turbulent era marked by a war between humans and kimono, decimating the lands for centuries. It was during this epoch of turmoil that the stones were forged intended exclusively for the most formidable kimono, such as the chiefs and elite members of the kimono race. Taken aback by this revelation, Kabane and Inugami embark on a profound journey to unravel the enigmatic ties between Kabane's parents, the stones, and the intricate workings of the kimono realm.
Thank you for joining me on this exhilarating anime recap. Today, we've delved into some truly incredible moments, and I hope you thoroughly enjoyed revisiting them with me. If you had a fantastic time, please consider supporting the channel by liking this video and subscribing. By doing so, you'll never miss out on the upcoming anime recaps, packed with captivating content. I assure you, the next recap will take things up a notch, delivering more action, emotion, and surprising twists. So stay tuned, because it's an experience you wouldn't want to miss. Until we meet again, take care and farewell. Keep watching, keep smiling, and continue cherishing the world of anime. See you soon!